So I'm Kathy Van Ness. I'm at the Golden Door. Tonight is our conversation, and we're so lucky to have this talented individual with us, Andie Hecker, who is a ballerina, but I want to introduce you just a bit. Andie is a former dancer and founder of Ballet Bodies. She's worked with Natalie Portman. Who didn't love Black Swan? I mean, didn't you want to understand how Natalie Portman got like that? It was amazing. Jennifer Aniston, Kristen Wiig, love her. And at the age of 10, Andie took her first ballet class. And from class 1, she was literally in love. Passion, talent, and discipline formed a union that would take Andie from Southern California to New York City in a span of 6 years, from student to professional. But her retirement came quickly due to a career ending to a surgery to remedy a lifelong struggle with scoliosis, a hereditary and incurable affliction of the spine. Post-surgery, her vertebrae would be forever fused. However, I still get goosebumps when I read this. However, because fitness and health has been a dominant part of her life for a solid 12 years, Andie healed, got back to full strength and flexibility, and developed an inner sensitivity to women with injury and women wanting to perfect their fitness part of their life through her love of ballet and movement. And that's what we're going to get to talk about tonight. It's really amazing. So what gave you the idea to start Ballet Bodies?
Basically, I was training at someone's fitness studio, and I realized I had more of a vast knowledge based on my ballet career and my self-rehab, because I had scoliosis. I rehabbed myself from my back surgeries, and I kind of wanted to fuse my ballet knowledge with my fitness knowledge, and it all kind of goes hand in hand, so I created this company.
Well, I'm not going to ask you many of these questions. I'm going to ask you just a few, because we really do want to know, because that's the #1 magazine to sell in the newsstands, right? We want to know, what is it like? First of all, Taylor Swift, she's tiny, for heaven's sakes. What is it like to train Taylor Swift or Natalie Portman or Jennifer Aniston? Are they like us? Is it different?
No, they're human beings. I mean, they're women. They have the same issues, the same body sort of dysmorphia that we all have. Especially, they're on the camera, so they're maybe perhaps a little bit more critical, but I don't think so. I mean, I train housewives, I train actresses, I train supermodels, I train dancers, and everyone's kind of the same. Everyone has their little issues, like, oh, I need to get rid of this, or this isn't good enough. No one ever feels good enough, I think.
So they're just the same as us.
Yeah.
But Black Swan was such an amazing movie, and you as a ballerina must have been an extra special help to help her train for that. What was that like for you, being an original ballerina?
Well, I danced with New York City Ballet. That was my professional career before all of this. And the movie Black Swan was pretty much based on New York City Ballet. It was shot at Lincoln Center where I performed, and so the whole thing was going to be basically about my life. And in addition to training Natalie I trained her on the Pilates reformer and gave her some personal training, classical personal training techniques, but also we'd go into the ballet studio and do ballet and work on her ballet technique. But in addition, I would give her little anecdotes and little kind of character,
like position kind of
things. Just ballet dancer character anecdotes. Like when I was in class, I would change my warm-ups 50,000 times a class, and just kind of stare at the mirror. Just that kind of thing. And I don't know if she took it to the movie, but I'm sure
she was awful good at it.
She was very, very authentic.
I understand you follow the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000-hour rule. Talk to us about that.
Well, I feel like you gain expertise through repetition. And the more you do something, the more masterful you become at it. And as a ballet dancer, I've done well over 10,000 hours of pliés.
Really?
And relevés and arabesques, and things just become sort of second nature, and you just kind of perfect your form and your technique when you're doing the repetition. So I don't know, I just feel like practice makes perfect, and that's a simple way to put it, but I've definitely trained well over 10,000 hours of bodies.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Is there an exercise or a position that you find that you fall into that you like the most, that gives you the most, or is it?
Everyone's bodies are so different. I don't ever train by rote. Mm-hmm. I can't phone something in. I think it's that ballet dancer work ethic. Right. someone comes in my room and I'm like, okay, what tack am I going to take today? It's never, I don't teach group classes. I mean, there are group classes at my studio so that more people can come and kind of sample what I do specifically, but I'm really into everyone's body is so different that no one exercise is going to be perfect for everyone.
Can anybody do it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I,
have an 81.
I would love to do, who wouldn't want to be a ballerina? I mean, I did, I never got to be, but right? Doesn't everybody want to be a ballerina for a minute?
Yeah, no, I have an 81-year-old client who's amazing, and so
it's not hard.
I mean, I started out very slow. I've been working with her for 6 years, and I mean, we started out with like 10 reps at a time, and now she's doing like 30 reps of things. I mean, again, practice makes perfect. She's been consistent with me 3 days a week, 7 a.m., 3 days a week for 6 years.
Do you have a personal favorite workout routine for yourself?
I love jumping in a ballet class. Like my trainers teach the group classes, the people who work at my studio teach the group classes, and I'll just, if a client cancels or if I'm on break, I'll just jump in a ballet class and just try to disappear, in the ballet class, and just, I love that. And I also love swimming, so I wish I had a pool in my gym, but.
So what kind of music goes with a ballet class?
We make it contemporary. We don't want to kind of go with the arcane, classical, or like tinny ballet piano music. Mm-hmm. I just play popular music for classes. And
recognizable pop music.
Yeah, just because I want to make it, available, and like accessible rather to the non-dancer. So people can like connect to their music and do their grand battements to a Taylor Swift song or something.
That sounds great.
Like, the beat can be really clear and
shake it up.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do
everybody
grand
knows that
battements
song, of course, right? Couldn't miss it on any of the shows, right? There was an exercise, forgive me for this, I'm trying to read this right. Jump?
Yeah, there's a jump class. We have a jump
class. How do you do a jump class? I can imagine.
We use mini rebounders.
And they're not afraid they'll fall off?
I mean, some people are afraid, but you just tell them to think of jumping down into the rebounder.
Yeah.
But we use mini trampolines. They're called rebounders. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of them. And they basically, it's non-impacting. It's good for your joints because you're not jumping on the floor, the hard floor. So it takes up the impact from for your joints. And you can do ballet jumps. You can do jumping jacks if you want to keep it simple. But we have a whole class that includes ballet, basically technique on a mini trampoline. So it keeps it fun, but it gets your heart rate up. It's good for lymphatic drainage.
It affects you overall too. Doesn't it have an overall performance? It's not just the legs. It's doing things in your
full body
system,
because you're using your arms, you're using your core to stabilize. It's good for lymphatic drainage, so it's just good for detoxing.
Yeah, detoxing.
It's a very healthy form of cardio. It's basically essentially it's one of our cardio classes, but it's very full body and very healthy.
Well, one of the things we see a lot here at the Golden Door is injuries. Mm-hmm. And so with your experience, should people with injuries work out? How do you spot an injury?
I think, I was, like I said, I was a ballet dancer, so I lived in the physical therapy room. I've broken my foot on stage. I had tendonitis in every joint you can have from overuse injuries. But so basically as dancers, we had the best physical therapists on hand at all times. We just go into the physical therapy room and just be cared for. But so I think that moving through the injuries, depending on what kind of injury it is, but a lot of my clients come in from the outside world with injuries, and I help rehabilitate them in my with my knowledge.
Can you, do people tell you? Do you have to sort of investigate? How do you know?
People know. People usually know. Something doesn't feel right, and people know their bodies. I mean,
they'll tell you.
It's a different. Everyone in varying degrees. People know their bodies, but everyone has. If they're too tight somewhere, it'll pull you off balance, and the body will compensate.
So would you encourage people who had injuries, like, a strained shoulder or a strained knee or a strained leg, to work it through? Don't give up working out? Keep trying to move and keep strong?
It's sort of, like I said, a case-by-case basis, but I think mobility, so flexibility, mobility, being able to move, and strength is really important to continue on the road of getting better from the injury. So I don't like it when people are just stagnant and don't do anything. So yes, the answer is yes. Work out, but with someone who knows what they're doing and can help you.
There's so many points of view about fitness and training today. Mm-hmm. Everybody seems to have a point of view. So I'm going to ask the question differently. Instead of what is the point of view, what are the mistakes that you see that's happening out there in the training world?
People who don't know the body so well, just kind of by rote, giving a program sort of
not personalized.
Yeah, exactly. I don't love going into say just like a classical Pilates class where it's a group of reformers and we're all doing the same thing. It kind of I don't know, it doesn't feel safe to me, but I'm also a perfectionist.
That's okay. But now you have more studios.
No, I have this one studio.
And what about New York?
We're moving into expansion.
In New York, you have someone you can count on.
In New York, I have a friend who I...
Right, someone who at least does it like you do.
She does her own thing, but
okay.
I kind of helped her start her business.
So you don't have to worry about replicating yourself.
Well, I've replicated myself within my studio. I have a studio and I have trainers who do what I do within that studio.
And how many trainers do you have?
7.
Wow, that's a pretty big.
Yeah, I have 7 girls who work with me.
Wow. So that brings me to an interesting question. How many of you have personal trainers at home? Because when you come to the Golden Door, we all have personal trainers. And we find the importance of a personal trainer is exactly what you say, the one-on-one experience of understanding what the guest wants. Why should we encourage people to have personal trainers?
Just so that they have the guidance. It's also hard to self-motivate. Even I sometimes want to have someone train me. Like I'll grab one of my girls and ask them to train me, because self-motivating can be pretty difficult, and sometimes the layperson doesn't know really what to do all the time. So someone with expertise is the best.
But is that hard for the person, since you're the head experienced queen of the program? Is it hard for them to train you? Are they like intimidated?
Maybe.
Like, oh my gosh, I got to get this perfect. It's the boss.
Probably. But
right. Just try to do your best.
They have no choice.
Right, they have no choice. You have to train me. I read something that you said, a quote on your website that was, "Fitness is hard work," if I may. A quote says, "Ballet Bodies is a fitness entity that fosters strength and change, encouraging the pursuit to greatness." And so I thought that was really great, this pursuit to greatness. And how can you see greatness when people come in when they're at this stage of wanting you to fix them almost in a way? Mm-hmm. How do you see that greatness?
I see it when they make progress. I mean, when they see the progress in themselves, when they see changes and they come in and they're excited. I mean, it's a process, but it can really happen quickly sometimes. But I see the greatness in the results. I see the greatness when someone's worked hard at the end of their session. They're like, "Oh my God, I hated that, but I'm so happy right now." Have
you ever seen something that didn't work that you were just disappointed in?
Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean, I train so many people that a lot of people are kind of either hard on themselves or don't want to do what I ask them to do. Some people who push back, But
do you keep them, or do you say, "I don't think this is right"? How do you work a client who doesn't want to really aspire to where you think that they should go?
Usually I work it out. Usually we figure it out together.
You stick with it.
Yeah.
And win.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So you've had such an interesting life from where you started at 10 years old as a ballerina and being in the ballet in New York and ended up here in California and now working with all these wonderful people that you get to see. So what inspires you today for yourself?
Basically, art. I live in Los Angeles, and it's such an entertainment world, but I love it. I love movies. I love music. For me, music is really important because as a dancer, it's not about, it is about the audience, but for me, it was always about connecting to the music. And so, I always have music playing, or, in the classes, there's always music playing. So I guess art, music, movies.
There's a lot of it in California.
Yeah,
there's a lot of it everywhere. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the last questions I thought I'd ask is, what advice would you give our guests who are so nice to have you here tonight? What advice would you give them? What golden nugget could we have?
Okay, I would say find a workout that you like, find a workout that's fun for you. I don't think hitting the gym necessarily, or just, going to a Pilates class every other day, like whatever, find something that inspires you, find something that keeps you passionate, because for me, ballet was, fostered such passion, and it, there's really nothing like that. And it's about moving towards something and not just getting, fit for the sake of looking better, getting skinnier. It's kind of find that passion, find that something that drives you.